and welcome to the program from the Capitol, a 45-minute program that paints a clear picture of the national legislature in which individual lawmakers expresses their views and opinions on issues of national concern. The role of individual lawmaker is visibly highlighted in this program. This program is brought to you by the television department of the LIBERIA Broadcasting System. I am your presenter, Joseph Sion, asking you to keep watching.
We invited Lonestar, LTA, LRA, and the Minister of Finance to come here and explain to us what transpired during the period of legislating a tax amendment that imposed additional 1 cent on voice call. We received report from our committee on Ways, Means and Finance that the major actors in the telecommunications sector were invited, including Lonestar and that was second. Lonestar had a different position to second. Lonestar, being a dominant service provider, made commitments, and at this point in time, they have reneged on the commitments that were made. So we thought to probe the matter at hand, to establish the facts, and then subsequently a decision will be taken. For Lonestar, on last Thursday, was it last Thursday? Sent in an excuse and requested that they would be available today. The excuse was granted by this plenary, and Lonestar was requested to appear here today along with the other principal actors who appear here in our live setting and give an account of what they know. So principally this hearing is intended for us to hear from Lonestar. Before proceeding, I'd like to know as to whether Lonestar is adequately represented here and who are those representing Lonestar.
Honorable Speaker, distinguished members of the House of Representatives, my name is Louis Roberts, and I'm the Deputy CEO at Lonestar Self Corporation. Along with me are other members of our team. The Dixon Sibo is our compliance manager, senior compliance manager. Ibrahim Darami is our marketing manager. Sia Sami is our in-house legal counsel. And Emmanuel Reed is also our in-house legal counsel. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Of the Honorable House of Representatives in section to bring to your attention that during the 2 hearings held on the new tax amendment law on Friday, December 2, 2016 and Monday, December 5, 2016 respectively, 2 of the GSM companies, Lonestar and Cellcom, were present. On the argument as to whether or not the 1 cent charge per minute on all calls were effective treated, data promotion as argued by the NPFD and LRA. Lonestar Cell Company representative under oath argued that the 1 cent charge per minute will have no effect on the promotion mentioned above. This information provided an informed judgment for the committee to recommend its passage. Unfortunately, the management of the Lonestar Cell has stopped the 3-day free call promotion, being basing the act on the passage of government's imposition of excess tax on domestic voice calls. This, the House of Representatives considers tantamount to lie under oath, thereby misleading the lawmakers and the public. In view of the above, I am further directed to invite you and the chairman of the board of directors of the Lonestar Communications Network to appear before the full plenary of the House on Thursday, January 19, 2017, at 12 noon to clarify your recent utterances and/or messages to the entity subscribers following the passage of the new Tax Amendment Act of 2016. Kind regards, sincerely, Mildred N. Sale, Chief Clerk.
Repeat after me. I,
Angelique Weeks, chairperson of LTA,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that the testimony I'm about to give,
that the testimony I'm about to give,
as it relates to this hearing,
as it relates to this hearing,
will be the truth,
will be the truth,
nothing but the truth.
nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Unreal.
Lord, Philip. Yeah.
Mr. Speaker, co-presiding, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we want to again begin by telling this plenary that we presided over the tax amendment in December when it was passed onto the committee to report in 1 week. And the two committees that were asked to scrutinize this tax amendment were the Committee on Judiciary and that of the Ways, Means, and Finance and Development Planning. We had the opportunity to conduct 2 public hearings. One was in the conference room of the House of Representatives, and the last was in the Speaker's conference room. Mr. Speaker, co-presiding, distinguished colleague, Lonestar and Sercon were represented, and then we had LRA and the team from the MFDP. During the first hearing in the conference room, we did not have the officials of the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning in attendance. But then we allowed Lonestar and Sercon to give us their side of the entire decision that we're about to take. And in that public hearing, Mr. Speaker, co-presiding, distinguished colleague, Lonestar was represented by the Deputy CEO, Mr. Louis Roberts, and then one of the senior officers, Mr. Dake. And the initial statement that came from the Deputy CEO and that of Mr. Sibo indicated that Lonestar could not transfer the 1 cent it ever would have taken a decision to the consumers. Like I said from the beginning, and even in the report that we made to plenary that informed the decision of plenary, Lonestar again at the last hearing, while the funeral arrangement was on the way of our fallen brother, but then we were forced to stay here on account of the last hearing in the Speaker's conference room. In that hearing, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleague, Lonestar delegation again indicated to the committee that the 1 cent by all call, voice call, could not in no way stop the free call promotion that Lonestar was carrying on. In fact, they heavily argued with the delegation from SERCON, because SERCON has told us in passing that, look, we could rally some of our prime customers to making sure that we provide a little over $5 million, because we have some of our prime customers that do not use the 3-day free call. They don't benefit from that service. So it means that they will continuously pay on all of their calls. So we could do that selection, and we are sure that when the tabulation is done, we can raise about $5 million within a year time, and then we don't need to level the 1 cent by free call. In passing, that was the statement from the delegation from SERCON. Lonestar insisted that if 6 months would give us $8.5 million as it was projected by MFDP, then it means that the fiscal year would generate a little over $16 million. So why are we leaving $16 million for $5 million per annum? So there was a need that government go for the just tax that we have projected during the 6 months beginning January to June. And Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleague, this AUKUS ballot is where all revenue laws emanate from. And to have compromised the interest of the Liberian people by considering the proposal from SERCON and not informing the plenary on the $16 million as it was projected by MFDP, I think we're going to compromise the interests of our school-going children, the interests of babies that need to be catered to by clinics and hospitals across this country, and so many other development priorities that this country needs right now. So it is good, Mr. Speaker and distinguished colleague, that Mr. Robert is here. He attended 2 of the public hearings, and as the testimony to the report that we made in the plenary December 6th, Mr. Speaker, at the time we did not have any contention over the 1 cent that was levied on all voice call. We inscribed in our report that Lonestar did say that the 1 cent by voice call, by all voice call, would not be transferred to the consumers. At that time, we did not have any contention. So it tells you that we did it based on the advancement of one of the biggest companies in this sector. So it was not any way intended to expose the truth that they told us, but we wanted to have them on record. That's why if the chief clerk can produce the report from the committee, it is inscribed in that report that Lonestar did say the 1 cent by all voice call would not be transferred to the consumers. So we are on record for that. We are not making any story. And then the LRA team came, they testified to that. The team from the MFDP came also and testified to our report. So, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I want to stop here that we were told by Lonestar on an oath on 2 separate occasions that the 1 cent would no way be transferred to the consumers, and based on their report, their assessment, their commitment to the Liberian people through us, we decided to take the decision because they are the biggest in the sector and they are the oldest in the sector, and we had all reason to rely on their testimony to transform that into policy that will govern our tax collection and that will generate the kind of revenue that government yearning for right now. Thank you very much.
During the hearing, the series of hearings on the tax amendment law, that in the event where the government was to impose the 1 cent tax on voice call, you as the dominant service provider couldn't have passed it on to the consumers. The representatives of the Liberian people rely on your representation and ignore representations made by your competitor. And I believe when you spoke and said that you or the cell phone companies could absorb the cost, your representation was relied upon because you, as a phone company, came in this country. You took from Liberians 65 United States dollars for a SIM card that you sell for 1 hour today. That cost was not passed on to consumers. You, as the dominant service provider, you charge Liberians 25 cents per call on that call. Today, the same call you charge 25 cents per minute, you are charging 15 cents per minute. So there exists sufficient historical precedence for which this plenary will rely on your representation. Our reliance was not just on the clear blue sky. Like I said, it was on the basis of historical facts. For the fact that you took from Liberia 65 United States dollars for something that you are giving to Liberians today for 1 hour. For the fact that you took from Liberians 25 cents for a voice call per minute that you're taking 15 cents. So we'd like to hear from you what transpired.
Honorable Speaker, I'd like to thank you, Mr. Speaker, members of the House, and this honorable body for accepting our request to extend our appearance here today to provide clarity to the lingering questions and the unending commercial propaganda against Lonestar Cell MTN. Mr. Speaker,
Mr. Ross? Mr. Ross? Mr. Ross?
Honorable Speaker,
You appear here during a series of hearings. There was a proposed tax amendment bill before the legislature. What did you say at those hearings? Don't people start reading about propaganda and all of that. What transpired?
Honorable Speaker, to address Honorable Moore's issue, we did say at the hearing that Lonestar Cell will not pass on the 1 cent on domestic call to the subscribers. And that we have not changed. What we've done is that we've limited the number of minutes you will use on the data for 3 days. We've limited the number of minutes you will use on the data for 3 days. Now, the reason for doing that is this. When we introduce, as a matter of fact, we did not introduce it, when we started to promote the 1 hour for 3 days, people had access unlimited minutes to talk on the phone. Those calls were causing our network some serious problems. Caused congestion, caused drops, and all the rest of the problems we have on the network. We tried as best as we could. We tried as best as we could as an institution to control our costs, to control our overhead expenses at Lonestar, but we found it difficult to do that. We begin to realize that this sector that we operate is extremely expensive. To those of you who don't know it, it costs us substantial dollars in this country to build one tower in one location in this country. Cover to that is the fact that places we go, we have no access to road, but yet we are present to make our presence felt. At the moment,
manager is diverting from the question. What we want to know from him is why they lied under oath. So let him get to that answer.
Those are the facts. And I think it's important now to go into the nitty-gritty of what has transpired after the passage of the law. All that you are now explaining about congestion, they happened before. Why didn't you take corrective actions? Why now? So I think it's important, since we are where we are, you have admitted to the account of our Ways and Means Committee, which we want to thank you for. That makes you an honorable citizen. I think it's about important that we allow our colleagues to now cross-examine you on what has transpired after you made a commitment and the law was legislated. We start with our grade.
The distinguished witness. Let me appreciate first the chairman of Ways, Means and Finance for providing the historicity of the decision of this plenary, especially when it comes to the issue of generating 16 million United States dollars as opposed to 5 million for the welfare of the state. And I listened keenly to the witness, and I also listened to the hearing. The witness is on record that first the 1 cent will not affect, the taxpayers will not bear the burden of the 1 cent. The witness is also on record to have said that the 30-day promotion would not have also been affected. And the report submitted by our chairman on Ways, Means and Finance, in fact, during the debate, those are issues that were raised. And those testimonies were made public to us and the general public. Let me begin by disproving the witness testimony on an oath. Lonestar sent a message, and we want to look at the message. This is not an unending propagandistic attack on Lonestar. It's about the welfare of all people. Lonestar says, "Dear valued subscriber, in line with the government's SR tax on domestic voice call, effective 15 January, we have made adjustment to our promotional packages." Let me repeat. Dear valued subscriber, in line with the government's excise tax on domestic voice call, effective 15 January, we have made adjustments to our promotional packages. In our Liberian parlance, which is a cliche in our country, you don't need a rocket scientist. You don't need a rocket scientist to know that the action to create what they call limited call, that is $1 for 20 minutes for 30 days, is on the basis of the taxation, the 1 cent. This is what they are saying in this text message.
Mr. B, I'm interrupting you. Let me intentionally interrupt you.
Okay.
Please present that text to Mr. Roberts to read and inform us as to whether that text was sent by the Lonestar. So whether you are the sender, whether Lonestar is the sender or somebody booked through your system.
Dear valued subscriber, in line with the government's excise tax on domestic voice call, effective The mic is on. Dear valued subscriber, in line with the government's excise tax on domestic voice call, effective January 15, we have made adjustments to our promotional packages. And
Do you identify that text? Who is the seller of that text?
Lonestar Cell.
Lonestar sell.
Yes, Your Honor.
That can conclude. Thank you very much for the opportunity. For the fact that predicated upon a communication survey and you send a message to the subscribers, this brings to attention the uproar by the general public against the legislature. That we took a decision that is insensitive to the well-being and welfare of our people. That's one. Secondly, there can be no argument, absolutely no argument, to say that the 3 days here, that's your promotion, you're a corporate entity. I listened to the debate on air. But when you appear before this body and commit yourself to this body, that is the people of the Republic of Liberia. And when you send a text message to put the public against us, that you are reducing, you are making adjustment on the 3-day promotion because we took that decision. And you are being asked to act in accordance. This is what the text message is saying. It means that you have shifted the burden to the people on the basis of our decision. I'm inclined to believe that you are placed in front of the committee, and by virtue of the witness being placed in front of any committee here, everything you say, you are here accountable for that. That is perjury. That is perjury. To lie on an oath and deliberately attempt to put the Liberian people against the government of the Republic of Liberia. That is also incitement. It's also tantamount to economic sabotage. That is a crime. That is a crime. It's a serious security risk. So I will appreciate. Yeah, I will appreciate that while you are placed on an oath to revoke publicly this statement that you bear the full responsibility as a company. That you revoke this statement. That you bear the full responsibility as a company to make a determination of your promotion and not the legislation or the amendment on the issue of taxation on telecommunication. I hope I can have the opportunity to speak for the second time.
Lonestar would not have passed the burden of taxation to the consumers. Against that background, the legislature was informed to act positively on the draft bill. After the law, at the point of enforcing the law, it began to communicate with subscribers that look, we are reducing your core minutes because government has imposed 1 cent tax. When he did, at that point in time, by reneging on the representation he made here, meaning that he lied here when he appeared. So what he did, what he has done is that he has committed perjury. That we can handle separately at the end of the hearing.
Our presiding and distinguished colleague, I will make a comment and conclude it with a question to the Lonestar board. And I would like very much for Lonestar to respond to the comments. Our presiding, as I was listening to you and you introduced the matter, the history that you narrated, which is a true history, is that the entire foundation and funding of this company, the Lonestar, is very exploitative. It has a history of exploitation. When the cell phone technology came in this world and Lonestar introduced it to Liberia, they started SIM card at 85. Remember? You were saying 85, 65, but it was $85 for a SIM card that they are giving freely now. And at that time, units were being calculated per minute. If you talk for 10 seconds, it's a minute, they deduct it. And if you run out of units on your card, they will block it and you'll pay $15 to reopen that card. What? And this company is perpetuating this ugly history against the Liberian people. It's very alarming. And the historical fact is, how could the head of the maritime entity, a branch of government, entity of government under the presidential regime, be the owner of Lonestar at that time? So you see another conflict of issue of interest in its own foundation again. And so for me, this company. Well, I didn't hear the speaker, so I had to continue.
No, I just want to inform our donor that not only that the CEO was the head of maritime, the man standing there right now, the manager was the head of maritime in in Washington, in New York, also in Virginia. So we're collaborating as well. Just let you know that was together.
So thank you very much. Thank you very much, Chairman of Foreign Affairs. So Honorable Speaker, what it appears to me is what in my native language they say you cook the plantain with its own water. So this company was just crafted out of the Liberian people's sweat. Can Mr. Ure show any document that he made an investment to get this thing called Lonestar going? Zero. And I'm coming, and this is the history. I just made a historical review. This is a history that is being perpetuated. And the very name Lonestar, you will have your say. The very name Lonestar is the second, it was crafted by Edwin J. Buckley when he wrote our patriotic song, which is like our second national anthem. And that issue has been raised in the public as to how they even acquired the usage of that name. Mr. Speaker, I touched on all of these historical facts to just illustrate that Lonestar must stop where they started from. They want to continue it. The history of exploiting the Liberian people, the history of stepping on Liberian people, and now they have introduced a new item in it that is trying to set up government. They came and lied to us, and then they send a text that they have admitted to. It's very, very unfortunate for an institution that this government subscribe to free enterprise. It is their corporate responsibility as a good corporate citizen to work with government instead of trying to turn citizens against the government. And Honorable Speaker, that is my comment, and I think this plenary can deal with the issue of Lonestar deliberately misleading us and then giving wrong information to the public about what they have committed here. Thank you, Honorable Presiding.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and fellow colleagues. Mr. Speaker and fellow colleagues, my own assertion on this matter has to do with the fact that, in fact, I was present in committee meeting when Lonestar did her presentation. Now, I was told that the LIBERIA and the family from the MFDP did a presentation here last week. I wanted to really understand what was the position, because the chairman will bear me witness when Second made her presentation, followed by the beer factory. These people were very candid. They was to the point that every attempt to increase taxes on any of their sectors it will affect the end user who happen to be our consumer, which happen to be our direct constituent. The MFDP, the finance, the MFDP together with LRA were also there. We are all part of the government. The chairman also went further, suggesting to them. We asked Madam CG, and she told us that, look, we are doing this also based on best international practices. It means that since we are a signatory to the WTO that was passed, it means that we must be on par. And then the chairman said further, but even if that is the case, the passage of the WTO still gave us 2 years of grace period that will allow us to adjust. Why can't we provide the 2 years? The chairman was very straight in putting up this point. And if all of these people sat there, the Lonestar keep. Second, what the owner group continue to say that we will be on record that want any attempt for you to out, even a penny on a call today, we will filter it down to your people. And it was not a threat, but it was clear. Yeah. BF said the same thing. So if all of these things,
sound business decision.
Yeah.
They said that look, impose the one if your proposal, your tax amendment proposal with regards to the telecommunication sector is good. The burden will not be passed on to the consumers. Right. After that, they are passing the burden on to consumers. Now, what we needed to establish as to whether they actually appear here and committed themselves that they were not going to pass the burden. They have admitted that they did that. They committed that they are not going to pass the burden, which they had done. Their action is tantamount to perjury. There's an issue that is about we are discussing. So all of the other issues what people say, our decision was not informed by that. There's a particular sector, the telecommunication sector, and the issues that are following, and that Lonestar is trying by its action to make the government unpopular with the Liberian people, to create political instability and to survive the republic through their action. These are the issues that are not being discussed.
And the Liberian, if you are very careful the future, observe on your mobile money. If you buy airtime on mobile money, if you buy $10, they tell you, say, we'll give you a bonus promotion of $10. You have the $10 in your phone. As soon as your $10 you bought from Lonestar is finished, they take away the other $10 that they give to you as promotion bonus. Seriously, I myself, the complaint came, I have followed it up more than 3-4 times. And Honorable Speaker, it's not good for us. It's not good because all of these things we're doing, the average effect is on our people. So if you have a company that will go back and say, we're giving you promotion, we're giving you this, and then at the end of the day, once you use your regular money, then they take the money and buy from you. But no one is asking Lonestar to give promotion on mobile money. And if even you want to stop it, stop it. But don't fool the people and tell them, say, we'll give you $10, we'll give you $5, we'll give you additional $1, and as soon as the $1 is finished, you take the money back from them. It's not good. And like the speaker said, it is intended to put the citizenry against the government. And that's what you people are doing. Because all you people intend to do is that we will do all we can to undermine the stability of our country. Because the only thing you can benefit in, like Orosmo said and the other women said today, that you people have been beneficiary to a dictatorial government in this country where you could take away
correct your statement.
I didn't refer to any party. I refer to your party. Legislatively, I didn't refer to your party.
Listen to my colleagues. It baffles me, Mr. Presiding, basically when it comes to the attitude or the performance of Lonestar Cell. I believe we need not further discuss this, Presiding. Looking at the historicity of Lonestar Cell, like my colleague said, there is no good record, Mr. Presiding, as it relates to their own business practice. One reason why, Mr. Presiding, you recall during the debate, when that document was presented on the floor before we could close, some of us took a decision that we felt at the time was not the right thing to do to support the passage of that instrument.
Very well.
And it was misconstrued by some of our colleagues.
Very well.
Now we have come to the reality that it have come to haunt us. You listen to all of the radio stations, television, talk shows. It's haunting each and every one of us. Meaning we are insensitive to the plight of our people.
True.
And that was not the intent during the passage of that instrument. Today we have come, Mr. Presiding, for me, I wouldn't want to say much because I'm beginning to get emotional mode.
Yeah.
On a very serious note, why our people should be treated this way. That's a radical approach. It's criminal, Mr. Presiding.
What criminal?
Coming to this body, misinforming us, allowing us to take decision on the basis of information that you gave us. And that decision was taken because we had a frank conversation. So, Mr. President, I believe that this body needs to take strong measures based on all of the historicity as it relates to the workings of Lonestar. This decision, Mr. Presiding, and I would suggest, Mr. Presiding, that the LTA that has the regulatory authority be instructed to revoke that lesson to otherwise order, Mr. Presiding, so that Lonestar Seal can stop this action, can stop this act. Because, Mr. Presiding, the indicators are so many. The security implication is huge. The political, Mr. Presiding, and sometimes we lack the political will to handle some of these issues. So, Mr. Presiding, I will stop on this note and not to further expand by saying to this body, enough is enough. Lonestar Seal must take this back. And today, Mr. President, that decision must be taken and tell otherwise to save our people. Thank you.
I believe it is good that when we sit in these sacred chambers, we make decisions in the interest of our people. And I think this is why all of us do come here. The issue here before us, Honorable Speaker, about the issue about is because Lonestar, quote unquote, has given false statement on the oath. But I think in my mind, Honorable Speaker, there were many players. And I think also Lonestar had its position, and perhaps that position in my mind was not the best. But again, as far as they knew, it was their best. Selcom also had a position, and everyone swore on an oath. The Ministry of Finance and NRA also swore on an oath. But I want to thank this legislature for on 2 occasions where you participated. We refuse to allow taxes or any tax imposition. And again, it went back to the executive. And the executive was bent on such an imposition. Well, you talk about somebody, being dictator and this and that. Why I said, okay, yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Thank you. I will make use of that. So, Honorable Speaker, what I'm trying to say is that it's easy. We can abbreviate the whole exercise. And what we can do, Honorable Speaker, distinguished colleagues, since this is something that we are all concerned about and passionate to see that our people do not suffer, I think the honorable thing to do is to repeal that law that talks about the imposition of the voice communication. Then, of course, when we do that, then we will also kind of liberate ourselves, because we have taken that decision before. Let's say also, how many persons lie on an oath for the water tax? Now, water that used to be sold for 2 for 5 is 1 for 5. So let's look at the totality of the circumstances, Honorable Speaker, distinguished colleagues. I think it's simple. We repeat this issue and we can make progress. So my own contribution to this exercise is not to blame anybody. The government itself has faulted in this whole issue. So I want to say, distinguished colleagues, the best we can do is to cancel this imposition and then we make progress. Perhaps if there are taxes to be made, let us take it from our various incomes to help subsidize this whole gap that we have been talking about. Thank you, Asome.
The issue at stake was the transferring whether or not the burden, the incident of taxation will be transferred to the consumers, and whether or not by that transfer a promotional cost, 3-day free call, or 3-day call were being abolished. According to you, you made representations to the effect that the tax burden was not going to be passed on and the promotional costs were not going to be affected. Am I correct?
That's correct.
Is that being recorded? Is that being recorded?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So it is established that the 3-day call was not going to be affected and the burden of the tax was not going to be passed. Correct? Correct. Thank you. I want you to reconcile that statement with the text that you read. Your representation that the 3-day free call was not going to be affected, was not going to be abolished, and that the burden of tax was not going to be passed. How do you juxtapose that statement with the text you read?
Mr. Speaker, let me first of all make one clarification. An issue of perjury has been placed on me is very serious. I want the body to understand.
Please answer the question first, and then you can come to that later. You have a question, so please address that first.
Mr. Speaker, the Lonestar has not abolished the 3 days free call.
But has partially passed the burden, or some of the burden to the consumers?
Well, we have not. If we had done so, we have cut off our promotion completely, which we have not done.
You had unlimited calls going on the 3 days before. You had unlimited call.
Yes.
You had unlimited call for 3 days.
Yes, we did.
Now, after the passage of the law at the time of enforcement, you have limited call.
Correct. Mr. Speaker, if we had left,
Mr. Ramos, I wouldn't want to make this Liberians who are observing and maybe who might be listening to us by way of radio, of some of those who have the opportunity to view the clip from this debate are knowledgeable enough, even if they didn't go to school, to know that when you transition from unlimited call to limited call, you have essentially applied a portion of the tax to the consumers. There's no debate about that. So about that you have lied. So we need that. We need that. Make this as a debate. And as a mark of tolerant leadership, as a mark of responsible leadership, don't fear that we were hasty to take a decision. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. We're going to take our time because we want to make sure that people are deterred from doing these kinds of acts. Sometimes if you take hasty decision, you miss the mark. We're not going to miss the mark on this one. We're going to show that the right thing is done. So please address that. How do you juxtapose? What's the difference? How do you compare your statement in committee room and your text?
I will answer the first portion of the question and then ask, with your indulgence, my marketing manager to come and expand on the issue of the 1 cent, if you so please.
No. How do you compare? Compare your statement in committee room with the text message on the
Well, look, Honorable Speaker, we got the message on the Friday.
You're not properly addressing.
Yeah, please do that, Mr. Rouse.
Honorable Speaker, I don't see co-presiding there. Distinguished honorable members of the House of Representatives, we got the text message, the letter from the LTA on the Friday afternoon by 3 o'clock. Lonestar Cell held an emergency meeting that the text said, the message said to us, the letter said, you have to implement the 1 cent on domestic calls effective January 15. This was on a Sunday afternoon. Between Friday and Saturday evening at 12 a.m., we're contemplating and debating among ourselves, what do we do with the letter from the LTA? We said, the government gives us the mandate to impose 1 cent tax on domestic calls. What do? We have to implement and let our subscriber know on Sunday morning that yes, indeed, you will see changes in your promotional packages.
Mr. Rouse, let me hold you there. So, meaning, you received a communication from the Revenue Authority requesting you to enforce the imposition of the 1 cent tax.
No, not from the LTA.
For the LTA, okay, for the LTA to impose the 1 cent tax.
Yes, correct.
And you went ahead to impose the 1 cent tax by doing the adjustment. You are honorable. You imposed the 1 cent tax by doing the adjustment.
We did not impose the tax.
But why did you do the adjustment and then reference the tax?
If I imposed the tax, Honorable Speaker.
No, but listen, wait. Why did you do adjustment and reference the tax as the basis for your adjustment?
Because
so it said, let me say that the danger is that if you say you didn't impose the tax, that means you have stolen from the Liberian people and will require you to refund the Liberian people. If you continue to insist that you didn't impose the tax, you have stolen from the Liberian people and you have to reimburse them. Did you impose the tax? Because you referenced the imposition of the enforcement of the law in your adjustment, which means that you are enforcing the law.
To give the sole justification according to the text.
Mr. Rouse.
Our Speaker, I think we need to understand here, by virtue of the letter, we had an from the LTA. We had
requesting you to enforce the tax, and in your own words, you had meeting as both and concluded that you had to enforce the government mandate. That's what you just did, right?
correct.
And on the basis of enforcing the government mandate, you sent out the text, right?
Right.
But then you are enforcing the law. Let me find out. When you send the text, we can agree when you didn't enforce the law. Excuse me, when you have your seat, we have to sign your hand to get you all of this so I can do that anymore. Excuse me, Mr. Ramos. Mr. Ramos. Hello, police. Police, we make progress, please. Mr. Riles, let's look at the sequence of events. And I may agree with you, maybe in the end, and I may not agree with you. You received a communication from the LTA mandating you to enforce the tax. You had a board meeting that the government through the LTA is requesting us to enforce the imposition of 1 cent tax. And you concluded that you had to enforce the government's mandate. On the basis of that, you sent text. At that point, you have committed no crime. You received a letter to enforce the tax. You had a board meeting and concluded to enforce the tax. You sent text to enforce the tax. You committed no wrong. Did you do the adjustment as per the text that you sent? Did you do the adjustments as per the text you sent?
Mr. Speaker.
Did you do the adjustments?
Yes.
You have enforced the tax. At the point where you did the adjustment, you imposed the tax, and then you have lied on oath, you deceived the government, and you are intended to set the Liberian people against the government. So how do you compare your action with your statement in committee room?
We got the letter from the LTA. We were constrained to let our subscribers know that LTA through the LRA has given us the mandate to impose 1 cent tax on domestic calls. Being a good corporate citizen, we said to ourselves, we would not put the taxes on the subscriber. What we would do is that we will limit the calls per minute on the 3 days. If your interpretation,
I don't think we need to keep it here long. We have established to commit Lonestar comes to play again. Maybe when that issue was being raised, there were people who didn't take that into consideration. You said you had a board meeting. Management meeting. You had a management meeting. Did you make representation at that management meeting? Since you attended the hearings and made representations that the verdict would not be passed on, did you inform the entire management that you have committed that the verdict would not be passed on to the consumers in that management meeting?
But the way you want to interpret it, you said yes, we did. Management was aware, so we discussed it.
No, not the way I want to. There's no other way here. I'm asking you. You came here, attended 2 hearings. You made representations on behalf of Lonestar Telecommunications Corporations that if and when a 1 cent tax was imposed on voice call, that burden would have been passed on to consumers.
Correct.
The tax amendment was legislated providing for the imposition of 1 cent tax. LTA, as the regulatory agency, wrote you and said, Lonestar, you are under obligation to pay the government 1 cent on all voice call. Simple. The LTA did not ask you to pass it on. As a matter of fact, the tax is an indirect tax. It will be paid by you or by the consumers. But the fact that you made a representation that you were going to pay, by emphatically stating that it wouldn't be passed on, did you inform the management team that, look, we have committed that this burden wouldn't be passed on, and as such we have to pay? Did you make that representation to the management team instead of passing it on or doing adjustments?
We made representation to the management team, Mr. Speaker, but by the same token, we agreed that if we had not passed this 1 cent, people who are calling on the phone will be paying 15 cents across the board. With the imposition of a promotion, they pay 6 cents per minute.
Yeah, that's not the issue. That's not the issue. Yeah, I mean, that has been the normal operation of Lonestar. If you subscribe to the promotion, you pay the 6 cents. That is not all Lonestar customers who subscribe to the promotion. If you don't subscribe, if you don't submit, if you don't buy in it, you pay your 15 cents. That is clear. So that's not an issue. The fact here, you appear and make representation that no, this is direct tax, this one will come to us. We will absorb it, it will not be passed on. The 3-day promotional cost will still go on, unhindered. On your representation, the legislature passed the law. The LTA now wrote you because they will have to enforce and collect the money from you. By writing you, shouldn't have been strange to you because you made a commitment that you wouldn't pass the burden on. And you are saying you made the representation, but some people are paying 6 cents, you have been paying 50 cents, which we know is a known fact. Those who pay 6 cents are those who subscribe to the promotion. Those who pay 15 cents are those who did not subscribe to the promotion. So like I said, we don't want to keep here. The facts are established, and I think we need to make progress. We need to make progress. And by making progress, we will look towards the direction of plenary to make a motion. But I'd like to state, I'd like to make this known, make these points known. We agree with some of the arguments that the promotion is voluntary, is a business strategy, which at the option of the company will be continued or abolished. By speaking to the LTA, they inform us that as a matter of practice, no promotion should go for 2-3 years. The fact that you engage in promotion for more than 3 years, and the fact that at the time of legislating the law to impose a tax on voice call, you appear here and made representations that Lonestar couldn't have passed that burden, and that the 3-day call will continue. You made that 3-day call as an entitlement for the Liberian people. You made that 3-day call as an entitlement, as a matter of right for the people of Liberia, which is a separate issue, but I just want to flag it here with my little legal knowledge. That by virtue of the fact that you have carried that promotion for more than 3 years, and at the time of legislating a law, you appear at the plenary of you appear at the legislature, and then you made representation that that promotion, that it was going to continue. It was never going to be hampered and affected by the imposition of the tax. You made that promotion an entitlement for the Liberian people. Besides, the fact that you appear here and made that representation that the 3-day call or the imposition of additional 1 cent tax the burden will not be passed on to consumers. You inform the judgment of the legislature in the direction of imposing that tax with the legislative intent of the corporate entities participating in the sector to bear the burden of that imposition of the tax, not the consumers. Now here we are. You have reneged on that responsibility. And by making the adjustment you have made, You have attempted to take away from the Liberian people their entitlement, which you gave them, which you made them to rely upon. By doing that and referencing the action of the government, you have attempted to create political instability. Not only that, by doing that, you have hurt the image and the reputation of the legislature and the government of Liberia. By doing that, you have risked the job, the employment of members of the legislature. By doing that, you have committed perjury. So we, having said all of this, as the basis of informing the motion, I will now look to the floor and will entertain the motion to go to the
Having listened to this thorough exercise of the Lonestar MTN Cell Company and members of the House of Representatives, the Lonestar admitting that under oath they informed the Liberian people through their deputies, the legislature, that the 1 cent on taxes on calls will not impact the consumers, and that they have defaulted that to embarrass the state and cause security situation to the state. I move, if I can obtain a second, that the Liberia Telecommunication Authority and the Ministry of Justice be mandated by this plenary to thoroughly review the act creating the LTA and look at the maximum punishment, the LTA. Look into the LTA Act and the license of Lonestar and look at the maximum punishment available under the law and report to this plenary on Thursday for the appropriate action in defense of the Liberian people and Lonestar lying to us on an oath to cause security insurrection to the state. If I can obtain a second.
So second. I speak on the federal government. To the movement. I will be ready to vote if they accept these amendments. That one, any motion to reconsider this decision.
Very good.
Be tested
now
with immediate effect. And that while the Ministry of Justice and the LTA are looking into this matter, that the Lonestar Cell Communication be instructed as of now to restore the 3 days as promised on the oath to this body. If I wish you could consider these 2 critical amendments, and the third would be that the leadership of the House of Representatives, along with the Committee on Ways, Means and Finance, begin looking into this tax issue and make some suggestion or some adjustment to this plenary to take further decision.
The first and second amendment so accepted, but the last one is denied because Lonestar came here on an oath, and as far as we're concerned, there is no need to tamper with the taxes, and will hold Lonestar by the word as a responsible entity. So it's denied.
All those in favor, please raise your right hand.
You restore the 3 days and what is it?
Roll vote. It's a coalition course.
Unanimous.
Don't be afraid to vote.
Unanimous.
Against?
What are you against?
Rule is
Why you tell you won't go again?
Voting as individual.
The man rejected the issue. The man don't cry out your message.
I say it's individual.
Honorable Speaker, distinguished honorable ladies and gentlemen, there are 24 for, 1 against, no abstention.
The motion is hereby carried. Madam Clerk, you are hereby directed by virtue of the motion to kindly communicate with the LTA and the Ministry of Justice, indicating in that communication a complete account of the witness testimony and all that transpired, and then requesting from them the advice on the appropriate sanction that can be imposed on Lonestar Telecommunications Corporation. By that motion, you are also directed to communicate with Lonestar that while this is being done, they should restore the 3-day call, which they have now adjusted downwards. That they should, since it's limited now, it should be unlimited as it was. On that note, Mr. Willis and all other witnesses will now be discharged. Thank you.
Thursday on the 26th. Okay.
All right.
10 o'clock.
Well, folks, this is how we end this edition of the program from the Capitol, a 45-minute program that highlights activity of the National Legislature. I have been your presenter, Joseph Sear.